so much for having me. You've all been sitting here for a minute. If you all want to stand up and stretch, go ahead, do a little dance. And then I'll ask you to sit back down as we answer the questions. Audience participation. Because you are a sky full of stars. How many of you here have seen the Milky Way? Is there a math student in the room to count this up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many of you have been to the Beaver Island State Wildlife Research Area International Dark Sky Sanctuary? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5, 6, maybe. How many of you know who performed that song, or the name of the band, or the name of the song? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pretty close, because we're here. But what I wanted to say was, survey says more people know about Coldplay than have seen the Milky Way. And the sad truth about that is that, can the people in the back row hear me? Yeah, okay. The sad truth about that is 80% of the world population has never seen the Milky Way and will now never see the Milky Way because they do not practice responsible lighting and they suffer from the effects of light pollution. Marine people too. So this is a pretty special group right here because you have seen the Milky Way. You're in a really special place that is protected and it does not have light pollution. In fact, we're only one of 23 such sanctuaries in the world. So it's really surprising what can happen when one person or one group sets out to make a difference. Tonight, you are that group. Well, let's go back to Coldplay for just a minute. Let's go to Mumbai, India, where EarthDay.org has just awarded Coldplay the 2025 very prestigious award, Artist for the Earth, because Coldplay's Music of the Spheres Global Concert Tour 2025 has set remarkable sustainability milestones. Maybe we can get them next year for the fair. 59% reduction in carbon emissions. Concerts 100% powered by renewable energy. They planted 9 million trees, one for each concert goer. Seamus' jaw is dropping. I mean, they are sustainability. And they had kinetic dance floors. So when everybody was dancing, it was creating energy to power those concerts. They also had bicycles, like Gilligan's Island. So fans could get on the bicycles that generated power for the concerts. We have 10 bicycles outside. Some of you have to go out to keep powering the slideshow for the rest of the night, if you don't mind. I'm going to quote Tom Crossgrove, Chief Creative and Content Officer of EarthDay.org. Coldplay's commitment has set a global benchmark, proving that music and environmental consciousness can come together to inspire millions towards sustainable lifestyles. So, you are a sky full of stars. You can make change. One group, one band, one concert, one country, one world, one galaxy, one sanctuary. Welcome to our humble point here on Beaver Island in that galaxy. And welcome to our International Dark Sky Sanctuary that Central Michigan University helped create. They own about 230 acres of the sanctuary and supported us from the beginning. We are also in collaboration with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and the Beaver Island Association. Welcome from the Beaver Island Dark Sky Project. Our committee is delighted to be here this evening to join the Beaver Island Sustainability Fair. We're so delighted. This is actually a dream come true for me to speak about dark skies, to speak at CMU, and start this collaboration. We're delighted to be here. It's really wonderful to have dark sky recognized as as a natural resource in need of preserving, protecting, and sustaining. Because, you know, some time ago in a far distant galaxy, dark sky protection was not a movie, not a movement. Astrotourism was unheard of, and responsible lighting was misunderstood at best. It was almost like talking about the term sustainability before you knew what it meant, right? I didn't know what it meant. I'm like, sustainability, I don't want to go to that. One might say dark sky preservation awareness was light years away, but change has come from people who make a difference. And here's another brief story about one person making a difference. And she's not saying what she's saying in this tape. She's saying, Sue, forgot to turn off the lights. Turn them off. Michelle Nicholson, lieutenant at the bridge, was ready to quit Star Trek. She went to, her role was just too limited. You know, she didn't have any lines, she didn't have anything going on. Bored. Went to a party, met Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She told him she was going to quit. He begged her not to. Don't quit. You're a heroine. You are an inspiration. You are a role model for women and minorities everywhere. Please don't quit. Please carry on. She didn't quit. She went on and visited NASA a little bit time later. Okay? She looks around and she's kind of going, where are my people? Where are the women and minorities? Why are there no women and minorities working at NASA? The directors at NASA said, we don't have applications from women and minorities. They're just not there. We can't hire from applications we do not have. So she goes home, back to the bridge, whatever, and creates a program with NASA to teach women and minorities how to apply at NASA. You all know the rest of that story. Hidden Figures, all the ladies did the math, okay? 3 of Michelle's program astronauts unfortunately perished on the Challenger, 2 women, 1 man. And NASA employs millions of women and minorities now. One person can make a difference. There's a documentary called Women in Motion. Watch that to get the rest of the story. Now, let me tell you about 2 people, 2 astronomers, who in 1988 discovered in Arizona that their dark skies were disappearing so swiftly they couldn't make astronomical observations and look at deep space objects. So they decided to do something about it. They began a process that would ultimately turn into what is now known as Dark Sky International. Global. From 2 people in 1988 to a worldwide organization with chapters, delegates, advocates, education and certification programs, and over 240 dark sky places. Oh look, there we are. So happy to see that. It took 5 years. Dark Sky International, they're really so incredible and so good at creating awareness and education about dark skies. I rely on them at every turn for information, education, videos, research databases, just everything. In fact, when I found out that Gary Michaud was going to speak about marine biology, I said, oh, let me find some information about the effects of light pollution on marine biology. I start looking, and I get this in the mail. Jellyfish on the front. Into the blue, understanding marine light pollution. They know what I'm thinking. I'm out there in the stars, and they're sending messages down. Wonderful information about the effects of light pollution on fish. Turns out it causes a lot of species to engage in risky behavior. They'll go into places they normally wouldn't go and do things they normally wouldn't do and expose themselves to predators. So let's just jump right into it because I know it's late, but I'm going to let Dark Sky International take the lead with some of their materials. We're going to, in case you need to step out, we're going to have a 3-minute video from NASA. We're going to have a 3 to 4 minute video about losing the dark. And then we're going to have a 6-minute video about what light pollution is doing to marine life.
In daylight, our big blue marble is all laying.
Somebody can hit the lights.
Night is electric. Seen from space, our planet comes alive with light. This new view of the Earth's night lights is a composite of data acquired by the polar orbiting CMU NPP satellite. Aboard the satellite, a newly designed instrument called Beaver is able to collect what scientists say is a remarkably detailed view of the Earth at night. In some places, city lights resemble solitary stars in the night sky. In other places, dense clusters of galaxies. The satellite can even distinguish brightly lit boats that line Egypt's Nile River, and the massive flames from gas flares produced as a byproduct of oil and gas exploration in the Middle East. As the satellite passes over the darkness of the Himalayas, it shows how human settlement is bound by natural borders. Even political borders are starkly visible in this view of North and South Korea, and in a line of fishing boats that dot the Yellow Sea. But not all light is electric. Glowing just as bright, flaming wildfires burn across Australia. This new view of the Earth at night offers a unique perspective for exploring the many places in which we live and seeing the impact of human populations around the world, no matter how faint or how bright their lights shine.
We live on the surface of a planet, spinning on its axis once every 24 hours. Its rhythms of day and night are embedded in the biological makeup of all life. During the day, we bathe in the glow of the sun. As night approaches, darkness takes over. It's a time to rest, to rejuvenate, to marvel at the beauty of the night. Until just over a century ago, our night skies were very dark. Now, even the wilderness is invaded by light. Our cities glow at night. Buildings are lit up. Unshielded lights blind us as we travel along our streets and roads. All these artificial lights overpower the darkness. The waste of energy is obvious, even from space. Much of that yellow glare the astronauts see comes from streetlights. They produce most of the light pollution on the planet. The glare is scattered by the atmosphere, creating sky glows over the landscape. We are losing the dark of night at the speed of light. Light pollution threatens the health of every living thing on Earth. Lights at night disrupt plant growth. Unshielded lights contribute to the deaths of countless land and sea animals each year. Migrating birds crash into illuminated buildings. Newly hatched sea turtles mistake the glow of electric lights for the shimmer of the ocean's surface. Bright lights at night also directly affect humans. Drivers and pedestrians temporarily blinded by poorly designed lights have suffered tragic accidents. Light pollution poses a silent threat to our health. Exposure to light at night disrupts the circadian rhythms that regulate our sleep cycles. People working at night under bright lights or living in light-polluted cities face a higher risk of developing diseases such as breast and prostate cancer. Here is a night sky with typical light pollution. On a good night, only the brighter stars and planets pierce the globe. This is what the night sky might look like if we could remove the light pollution. That faint band of light stretching across the sky is the Milky Way, our home galaxy. Because of light pollution, many people have never seen it. Astronomers know all too well the problems caused by lighting up the night. They need clear, dark skies to study the many fascinating objects in the universe. Light pollution simply washes out their view of the cosmos. Lighting up the night sky wastes money and fossil fuels. To keep a 100-watt light bulb turned on every night for a year takes the equivalent energy output from burning half a ton of coal. Multiplied by the billions of lights blazing up from Earth, the cost of energy we use to light up the night is colossal. While lighting is needed, there are some simple things we can do to ensure that it's neighborhood-friendly, energy-efficient, and helps preserve dark skies. We can replace light fixtures that send light up to the sky with ones that direct light down, exactly where we want it. They're called fully shielded fixtures. We can also illuminate only the places that need it. And of course, we can just turn off unnecessary lights. These are smart ways to use lighting. They offer simple solutions to problems caused by light pollution. We have a choice between wasting resources by sending light to the sky or learning to use light more responsibly. Light pollution is a problem each of us can help solve. Together, we can bring back the dark of night to planet Earth.
When I first discovered artificial light at night, I didn't think that there would be much of an impact at all, because my background is looking at light levels during the daytime. I thought that as soon as the light gets into the ocean, it would just be attenuated. Artificial light at night is an all-pervasive problem in the terrestrial and in the coastal areas around the globe. We see populations move much more towards the coastline. When you look around the Mediterranean, you can see these urban developments that go and fill in the gaps between the different cities. That's where you start to see the impact of artificial light at night most acutely. About 2 billion square kilometres of ocean are directly impacted by artificial light at night. The biggest impact is where you reflect the light in the atmosphere and background into the water. That's what gives the artificial light at night its reach. Now, what does light do in the oceans? What does it dictate? It's things like the cycle of spawning of corals. They're very attuned to the lunar cycle, and what we're effectively doing with things like artificial light at night is that we're infilling that period of darkness that the corals have become used to over millennia to broadcast spawn, and now that's just not happening in certain areas of the globe.
We're starting to get to the point of the year where barnacle cyprids will be They're these small larval forms of the barnacle that will settle out onto a surface and then grow into an adult barnacle. And these lights will be having an influence on that process. Where you have very well-lit walls, you'll find increased densities of barnacles that are settling there in comparison to unlit walls, for example. On the inverse side of that, there'll be some species that you might find normally settling in those environments that will actually be deterred by the light.
The other thing that the light of the moon is used for is by turtles, for example, to navigate their way as hatchlings off beaches and into the ocean. But if we've got lighting in the coastal zone, they're actually going in the wrong direction and away from where they want to go to. Here at CMU, we've conducted lots of different experiments about the impacts of artificial light in the environment.
The ALICE project is a very high-level topic project on light pollution. It is called Artificial Light Impacts on Coastal Ecosystems. We have our mussels as the base of the food web, we have the dog wells, and then we have crabs as a top predator in the coastal environment that will prey on both the dog wells and the mussels. And what we are able to do by having 3 of them in these experiments is we are able to explore not just the impacts of light pollution on individual species, but also on the inner workings of the coastal food web.
It's kind of a complicated switching system. At high tide, it switches our pumps on and it changes our lights from being really bright to being 60% dim. So that accounts for how much light is being lost to the water column, essentially. We can't do it with the water itself, because the water is deep enough, so we just make the lights dimmer at high tide. And then at low tide, the pumps go off, so all of our tanks drain, so our animals are effectively exposed, the way they would be at low tide on the beach, and the lights get brighter. The dog wells are laying eggs in our system, which is brilliant, because that means that they're not so stressed if they're not laying. But what we are finding is that the animals in the really high light treatments are laying far fewer eggs than the animals in the control treatment, which are the ones that don't have any artificial light on them at all.
Just like you or I here on land, marine organisms react to light in a huge variety of different ways. So when you start changing the nature of the light environment by changing its colour, by changing its timing, by changing its intensity, it affects a broad range of marine organisms and behaviours in a myriad of different ways.
Predator-prey relationships in the marine environment are incredibly important, as you can imagine. Things like camouflage for certain species of snails, for example. As we move much more towards LED lighting, blue light, and that blue light penetrates deep in the water column, these snails are unlikely to be able to hide from their predators in the night.
We've got a species called sandhopper, and people might know these as the annoying little critters that bounce around at your feet on the shore. They also undergo this very curious migration behaviour where they march in straight lines up and down the shore. And they do this in order to get away from the sea as it comes back up the shore. They actually use the sun and the moon as a compass in the sky to be able to orientate themselves, because they're only tiny little things. And what our research has shown is that when you introduce artificial light into the equation, they're no longer migrating along those strict paths going from the shore up towards the land. They're actually going all over the place if indeed they try to move at all.
Where do we go next with all of this? 2 areas I think we need to look at. First of all is actually what's the genetic response of organisms to light? What genes do they express when they're exposed to artificial light, and how does that compare with the natural environment? The other thing is, what's the impact societally upon changing our relationship with, first of all, the night time, and then also what our relationship is with the electrified and lit world. This is one problem actually we can start to take some really good concrete steps towards solving. First of all is turn off lights when they're not needed. Also, we can look at changing the spectrum of lighting. We could then start to shade our lighting, so just concentrating where it is. And then I think we can become much smarter in the way we use lights, so that they can switch on and off automatically as and when needed in certain areas. Why should we care about artificial light at night? It's one more stressor that we're putting upon the marine environment, but it's actually one stressor that we can really do something about.
I really hate to turn these lights back on. I don't want to ruin your lives. So, that's kind of what's happening, just so you know where we are and why we're trying to literally turn down the lights. in the world, from there to here. From no dark sky preservation to worldwide preservation. Behind me, you'll see the devastating amount of light pollution in our world. Created in Italy, this map is 20 years old. They're trying to update it. I'm sure it's much worse now. And this is the amount of light pollution on Beaver Island, which is why we were able to become a sanctuary that is rare and does not have a lot of light pollution. We are not a dark sky island, but we are an area with no light pollution, zero electricity, as a matter of fact. So I love these videos. They're very informative. I'd like to recommend another one to you from Princeton University. It's called Dark Sacred Night. There's a video from a college student whose research involves showing how light pollution at night is affecting fireflies. We saw the first firefly 2 nights ago. Better go out and take a look. If you see them now, they'll probably be gone. But for now, I'm going to show you another video from Dark Sky International, and then we're going to talk about what we're doing here at the sanctuary. Thank you for your patience. But this is an example of the things that a dark sky advocate might do. This is Michelle Wooten from University of Birmingham at Alabama. University of Alabama at Birmingham.
When you are an astronomer, you often go and present your work at astronomy conferences. Like, the main one is the American Astronomical Society Conference. It happens twice a year. This society has several committees. One of them is on the protection of astronomy and the space environment. Most of the people on this committee are astronomers, but there's some other people too, like lighting designers and environmental education folks. And we've worked on campuses, so we decided to develop the Campus Shine program. And this program is to help spread resources to other campuses across the U.S. On how they can start a dark sky advocacy movement on their campus. Let me tell you more about this Campus Shine program. SHINE stands for Safe and Healthy Illumination for the Nighttime Environment. And you can see this awesome logo on the left that a UAB graphic arts professor designed for us. And then you see all these names that you probably recognize in our dark sky advocacy community and our website. So, James, I know you're on the call. If you could post the link to Campus Shine in the chat, that would be awesome, if you haven't already. And so, just to clarify, I was working on this national committee for a couple of years. We made this Campus Shine program, and I took it locally to my university. So the rest of this presentation is going to be focused on Campus Shine efforts at UAB. So I've shared with you, like, all the things I was trying out, right? And my ultimate question became, is there a way that I can use education, like courses and projects that I can be a part of at UAB to support students' meaningful contribution towards safe and healthy changes in campus lighting? Whew, that's a big question. But I'm going to help spend some time on it for a little bit, because I want to ask you, if you were working on this question yourself on a campus, like, who would you go to for help? So these are ranked A through E. Could you just choose the one that you might go to first for help? Just type A, B, E, D, whichever one makes the most sense to you. And Chris, can you tell me, like, is there a majority vote here? Oh. Okay. So guess what? There is not an environmental science program at UAB, so I couldn't go there. So I did what I think a lot of you are suggesting, and I went to the sustainability office, because surely they can help academics like me connect their work to issues of sustainability at a more facilities-like level. And I was definitely too scared and unaware of what facility And so, come summer, fall 2023, I finally found a way in to meet with facilities and sustainability to discuss a drone project. And the idea is, when you're in an urban environment like ours, taking sky quality measurements from the ground sort of doesn't make sense because you're going to get individual lumens from light instead of just general sky quality. So if you can get a drone to fly above the luminaires, you can get a better sense of the general scatter of light. So we proposed this project and it was accepted. And so over the next year, this initial engineering student team made a drone and it flies. So in spring 2024, this drone flies, and it was so great because now I have connections with facilities who are helping me out with this project. Like, the main question was, if we fly this drone periodically, can we see that we're actually improving sky quality over time, like as we maybe change lighting so that it's more dark sky friendly? That was our big question. And so after that project, I gained more confidence, right? Like, now I know people in facilities. And it turns out that Brian was our main contact, and he invited me to participate in more projects with students. So in the summer of 2024, I worked with people in facilities to start mapping the locations of luminaires around campus. It turns out that their map of campus luminaires was almost 10 years old. So it was really kind of outdated. We have construction projects going on all the time. And so they said, hey, your team could help update our lighting map, and at the same time, you could take measurements on our campus luminaires related to dark sky friendliness. And so here I've shown me and a couple of gentlemen in facilities and let me go back, sorry. Well, there we go. Sorry, the time to change without me knowing it. There's someone on the call, Lynn Robinson, who can answer your questions, like from the student perspective. What was it like to work on mapping the luminaires? Okay, there she is, Lynn Robinson. You can see me and Kendall and Helen collecting light data around campus. And the great thing about that summer was that doing that initial mapping with facilities and being in service to them helped me learn how to prepare to teach the dark sky course in fall 2024. Now that course was at least 2 years in the making. It takes a long time to get approval to teach a new course at UAB, but I got it approved. And so in the summer, what we accomplished was we just focused on a small subset of the campus. All the yellow dots are locations of lights where that we updated. The white ones are lights that no longer existed on that original layer that was 10 years old. And then you see some orange ones, those were ones that were not on the layer that we added. So overall, facilities interest for mapping locations of luminaires, and they also wanted to know like which luminaires would be maintenance. The campus side interests were what is the level of shielding? Like, are they partially shielded? Are they fully shielded? What is their correlated color temperature? Are they under 3,000 Kelvin or not? And what is the luminance? Is it in the range for our lighting zone? And if you don't know what a lighting zone is, that's in the Illuminating Engineering Society's RP 43 documentation. So we were using these awful light mapping computers to collect a lot of this data.
I'm just going to interrupt Michelle, even though she is of great esteem, and obviously she has accomplished great things. But you can watch that at home. It's fascinating. It talks about something that's really thrilling to me, because there's only one university in the United States that has a dark sky studies. You can get a minor. Tony and I are going to just take our current degrees, grab a couple of courses, and then we'll be college students again. Dark sky studies. I think that's fascinating, don't you? It's like what do you imagine the course work is like? Oh, we're going to go out stargaze, you can look at telescopes tonight. So anyway, she did a really great job. There's a manual out there. It's written for professors and instructors, but it certainly can be looked at by students. that's what they're doing. The whole shebang, what courses to take, what you can do, how to, essentially what I've been doing the last 5 years and what our committee has been doing. Collaborate with people, get people to help you, go to the sustainability office, and things like that. So, let me see if I can recover from going to that and from a break. Let's focus on what we are doing as part of our commitment to preserving dark skies for Beaver Island and the world. Because it was a requirement for us to even become a dark sky sanctuary and to continue to be certified by Dark Sky International to create awareness and educate people about dark sky preservation, about the dangers of artificial light at night, and responsible lighting. Our Beaver Island Dark Sky Project is sponsored by the Beaver Island Association, and we collaborate with a lot of organizations to support us already, and that includes working with us to educate. Terrace Meadow has been a wonderful supporter. They believed when nobody else believed. I assure you, there were non-believers. And they continue to highlight our existence with all of their sustainability efforts. We've had the great benefit of other individuals. David Clark with telescopes, Tony Miller on technology and AV support, who's also an amateur astronomer. Mr. Miller has organized and led telescope viewing and dark sky parties, dozens, hundreds, maybe even, volunteering for the last several years to help further our cause. And he can help you with your own telescope and tell you how to use it. We have dark sky stations around town now, which we didn't have before. People are asking for them now, just to show, create awareness, like the one outside the door that I'm happy to report is going to remain here for a while. Wild Strawberry Cafe has a dark sky station in Harbor Market, and there's information at the Mormon Print Shop Museum. You're all invited to join us for one of those events that we need to do in order to keep being certified. Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, we've invited the Michigan Aurora Chasers group, which dark skies are certainly vital to them for a little different reason. But we gotta have the fun stuff once in a while because people don't want to hear about light pollution on most days. So that's one of the things we do. They will promote our sanctuary and dark sky preservation. You can meet them Saturday at the community center at our sustainability fair table event along with the rest of a great crowd. You can learn astrophotography, how to take pictures of the northern lights. If we get northern lights, I'm calling for it. Yeah. It's going to come. It's going to be here. Next few nights, as a matter of fact, while it rains and storms. Then we're going to go out each night to a different place, stay posted, because if the weather changes, we will go to the Downhill Bay Pavilion and have a presentation indoors and hang out, maybe tell some wild Aurora chasing stories. We'll also go to Wagner Campground and Gulf Harbor, maybe the Township Campground. It's really great. Our township now turns off the street lights at the lighthouse every night. That is an event in itself. I found out sitting out there one night going, oh my God, these street lights, boom, they all go off at once. And you just, oh, there's the Milky Way. It's great. So that's one of the things you can get people to do is to take action. Our library practices responsible lighting, motion sensors. Our school is dark most of the time. A lot of places are turning off lights altogether, or people are fixing the wonderful porch lights at their homes. Downhill Bay Pavilion is dark sky friendly, always has been. It was built with dark sky friendly lighting, motion sensors, and any lighting out there is red, so it's really dark out of Downhill Bay. It's going to use the microphone for this.
I think the batteries did not.
I beg your pardon?
I think the batteries did not.
Alice assured me it was not. Doesn't work. All right then. Our radio station, WVBI 95, no, they changed it. 91.9 FM, WVBI.net on your internet. They broadcast dark sky events via our community calendar and in regular programming every day. Really great programs. You could try the top 10+5 on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. with Cynthia J. And the rest of the world now knows about us via radio and television interviews, news and magazine articles. We have spread the word thanks to our Dark Sky committee. I am a member of Dark Sky International, as is other people on our committee, and I am an official advocate in their program. You can do that too. It's really easy. Quick 10-minute test, $35, and you're in. And you get that great magazine. So I talk about us frequently with people all over the world. Last week I was in an advocate meeting with people from Spain, Dubai. You should see what they're doing in China. A gentleman from Japan wanted to know, how can we use AI to create presentations for people? So this is a huge, huge thing. The world knows about CMU. They're watching. And what they do is what I'm trying to do right now, is increase our advocate efforts across the world. The eyes of the world is upon us. We are an inspiration. We are an example. We are sanctuary in a world with only 23 sanctuaries. You can look at them all at that poll out there. Challenge on. The languages are wrong on the signs, and maybe the arrows are pointing in the wrong direction as to where those 23 sanctuaries are in the world. Point being, we're pretty much the closest dark sky sanctuary you can go to unless you're traveling out west. Minnesota, Maine has one. The most recent one, gosh, probably in New Zealand, where they really, that's going to be a dark sky continent soon. Probably the first one. They have so much interested in that. Michigan, however, was the first state in the nation to legislate dark sky preservation by establishing 6 dark sky preserves with lighting policies. Michigan has 3 dark sky parks. You're not a park, sir. So paying attention. But anyway, we are not a park. Sorry, it's a sore point with me. We are a sanctuary, and there's a reason for that. Dark sky parks are locations in populated areas that have installed dark sky friendly lighting, have local lighting ordinances, and present dark sky education and awareness programs. Headlands International Dark Sky Park is a $9 million facility, which Emmett County did not hesitate to pay that money to change all the lights and make it dark sky friendly, because their revenue from astrotourism is incredible. And they have wonderful dark sky education and awareness programs. TK Lawless in Cassopolis, Michigan is a dark sky park. Same thing. They can have large things. They can have all of those presentations. And Huguenot Lodge, Upper Peninsula, also a dark sky park, because they can do those things. We're different from a park or any other dark sky place because we are remote. We do not have those large facilities to educate. We are sparsely populated. It's hard to get here. And it is a state wildlife research area. So you don't want to go down there and do whatever people do when they destroy a remote protected area. That's the very thing that helped us get certified and what keeps us certified. 9,195.9 acres of DNR and CMU land. And by the way, we are one of the few sanctuaries in the world that is partially owned by a university. I was researching that to see, okay, who else, what other universities are in the sanctuary or own part of the sanctuary, and I was coloring on the sign out there. I got down to the final one, Gabriela Mistral in Chile, the very first dark sky sanctuary in the world, is actually managed by 40 universities, a university association. So universities are on this, they're doing it, they are improving their lives and making things happen. Imagine the careers. The capstone project, the mechanical engineering, all of that you saw. So, our St. James Township is dark sky friendly. We have lights out policy after 11 p.m. It's also great for viewing aurora, and it's also hosted by Tony Miller. One of our most amazing collaborations has been with Beaver Island Retreat, the glamping resort, and with Peay Township, Maria Del Prado supervisor. She's also a Dark Sky Project Committee member. They host a dark sky friendly glamping resort that also teaches dark sky awareness and responsible lighting, along with practicing dark sky lighting. Most of their lights are dark sky friendly, or they're shielded, and they inform every single guest about, we're in the sanctuary, this is what we do, this is where you go, and this is what we do. So that's really important when you're trying to prove to the International Dark Sky Organization that you are doing things that are educating and creating awareness. The resort also guides people to our dark sky sanctuary map and guide. So we, instead of directing people to the big field down there, which is kind of far anyway, we direct people to Little Sand Bay, Petrus Preserve, other places where you can park, it's more convenient, it's closer to town, kind of more comfortable for people that are afraid of the dark. Not saying that. So what else are we doing? We're trying to create some more content to highlight the spectacular connection between dark skies and the cultural heritage of this island, to work with the tribes and help them create awareness about the cultural heritage that is here. Because, let me just read you this book. It's a great book. New Zealand has several dark sky reserves and parks because the Maori tribes of New Zealand, and many Native American tribes believe they're the stars. They are from the stars. That's my grandma up there that you are killing and destroying this, not to mention the stories, the history, the culture, the tales, everything that was done, the hunting rituals. Most people in the United States and Europe can no longer see the Milky Way at all. It is a catastrophic erosion of natural heritage, the obliteration of our connection with our galaxy and the wider universe. There has been no major outcry. Most people shrug their shoulders, glued to their phones, unconcerned by the loss of a view treated as fundamental by every other human culture in history. That is. What's the book? This is The Human Cosmos, Civilization in the Stars. And it talks about how everything comes from the stars. Everything you do, your political, your government, your myths, your politics, your clocks were invented from the stars. It's a fabulous book. She was a speaker at one of the advocate sessions. Jo Marchant, you can listen to her on YouTube anytime you wish. So what else are we doing? I mixed up my pages. Turn the lights off. So we're trying to make that happen. Anything, we can work with the Advocate Society. Those are all like the stars we get to be a sanctuary. We're collaborating. Well, one more thing about Native American. We have a stone circle. The stones are there. If you can find this bright stone, it demarks the heliacal rising of Sirius, the sun, the moon, constellations. Who knows? Hasn't been researched. Hope to get some of that done. And we're just trying to collaborate with everyone we can. If you want to collaborate with us, just let us know. Burden Trail, Audubon Society, collaborating with everyone. It is my hope tonight can be an inspiration to you to help us out, perhaps even a kickstart to that end. One of the major technologies involved in proving you have a dark sky, you saw the drone project with sky quality meters on them. We have to prove how dark our sky is. And our starman, William Margaret, is here in the audience back there. Say hello. He's been measuring the levels of darkness and recording them for documentation for our application and for continuing proof that our skies are still dark. We're not affected yet. Because there's a Bortle scale that goes from 1 to 9. 9 is the most polluted. 1 is the least polluted and the darkest. Beaver Island is a Bortle 2. But we gaze into a Bortle 1 sky over at Donald Bay. You can refer back to that map to find the Bortle class of any location in the world. I think that's light pollution map info. The other one that we looked at, yeah, there we go. And still lost 2 pages. No. No, I got it. I can do this. Does anybody want to look up their hometown and see how light polluted you might be? It's a young lady in the back. Harrison. You're Blair. In the lakes down there. It's in the middle, above Mount Pleasant. Or you can type it in.
Yeah, you could, there it is.
Okay, but there it is. So you see the red spots. You saw that you couldn't even see Beaver Island on that first map. Harrison is a class 4. Your magnitude is only 20.85 magnitude. Say it, Bill.
What?
20.85 magnitude arcs per second.
Magnitudes per square arc second.
Okay, so anyway, we're at 21.98 on a regular basis. So while the numbers don't seem to make that much of a difference, indeed they do, as you can see. And Green Bay, or what was yours, Charmaine?
It was gonna be Twin Lake, it's gonna be 5 or 6.
Twin Lakes?
Twin Lake, Michigan, so it's over by Muskegon.
Okay. Tony's from Ohio.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
But he's been under Bordeaux, so he doesn't know the end of
So,
Michigan.
Grand Rapids, it's like their hotspot, yep, and then a little bit to the left. Yeah, you can scroll right around there.
Here?
Yeah. So then it would be a little bit outside the hotspot there.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see the difference. You're a little bit outside the hotspot.
There we go.
Incredible. Anyone else? Anybody else from,
Cincinnati, Ohio.
oh boy.
Which is gonna be back and forth. There's Cincy, right
Even,
here.
yeah.
Class 8, 9 downtown. Yes.
And you have a observatory right in Cincinnati.
Yes, you
Yes.
have one of the finest dark sky parks in
And
Ohio.
so
Yeah.
Cherry Springs.
Cherry Springs.
Yes.
I see his Cincy and I raised him in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Yes. What?
There's Chicago.
However, Chicago has a dark sky urban community. Not a park, not a sanctuary, an urban community designation because they have changed all of their lights in the palace preserves. See if you can see the difference.
Oh, okay.
Well, which part of Chicago? It's kind of a big town.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, it's red. Great. But if you, suburbs, go ahead and click on which is the white one?
Shoreline.
White.
Yeah, white is.
Completely without hope. Stay here. What's the board on that one?
On this?
Yeah.
8, 9.
8, 9.
Same as.
All right. Yes, sir.
Just from Palos Park, and it's you just mentioned it.
Palos Preserves?
South, yeah.
Yes.
We live right nearby.
How is it? Is it different? Is it better? Is it good?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like a larger
Chicago they got the designation doing the same thing we did, but we didn't have to change any lights. I mean, there's not that many lights, as you can see, we show up, but there's not many lights, and it wasn't affecting our scale. But Chicago, the city of Chicago is also changing their lights as well. I mean, Tucson, Arizona saved over $200 million per year on their electric bill. City Township, St. James Township, why is my electric bill so high? Anyone else?
Yeah, my hometown.
I guess if you follow the trend, go Detroit.
Detroit. Highland Park.
That.
Detroit Highland Park did a project because there's a lot of stuff about light pollution and underserved areas, a lot. Not gonna go into that, but look it up. Because they couldn't afford lights, they turned them off.
Yeah, but downtown used to be like that about 10 years ago. We used to not have the infrastructure for lights, and now they have like tens of thousands of more light fixtures. Yeah.
Fortunately, that new project was dark sky friendly lights, so it's better. But I mean, you know, it's sad to say. Let me just say one thing. But let me say it very tactfully. Light pollution is a form of systemic racism. We have to put a lot of lights in that area of town because it's bad there. I'll just leave it at that. You can do some more research. It goes back a long time. And it's very sad, very, very sad. So, there we are, back to Beaver Island. Portal Class 2. Let's keep it that way, shall we? I have a couple more things, but first I'd like to show you we have a special guest here tonight. By accident, we meet the best people in the dark. You don't even know who they are, and get to talking. So I met a painter last night that paints the skies. And I'm just not going to talk about it, but I was blown away. I'm just going to show you.
So, tell me where these are again.
Go to your name. It's in the file with your name on it.
Okay.
Down at the bottom.
No,
Okay. Sanctuary ceremony slideshow.
maybe.
One can hope.
Well, that's
Bottom to the bottom, down to the bottom, down to the bottom, down to the bottom. Shoot. Well, can we go to xavifrancis33.com?
Sure.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, help me out.
XAVI.
Francis.
I'm pretty sure I put them in there. When you talk about the correlation between music to promote.
Is there a typo?
Xavi Francis 33.
33.
It's so worth it. These paintings look like your astrophotography photographs, David. If we can get there. And we're going to do some questions. There we go. You want to click on the menu and go to the gallery. 3D lines to the right. Gallery. Yeah, zip one of those up. You scroll down. And click to the next.
Yes, that's what I was looking
I had about 4 of those. And while you're going and eyeing over those, you can meet the artist back there afterwards. Mr. Francis is in the back. Like, Kevin, you can grab one of these murals for Sandy and Age. But anyway, I'm going to ask you some rhetorical questions first before I open up for other questions. Because I learned this in the State of Science report from Dark Sky International just a few days ago, and the speaker said, our reports and research come mostly from controlled studies in a controlled environment. So that's a factor, you know, when you're trying to prove something, it's all different. You don't come up with, I mean, it's real research, it's real proof, but it's not scientifically proven. I cannot say to you, it is proven to cause breast cancer. It is proven to cause prostate cancer. It is proven to kill light bugs or fish. Here's my question. What if you had a light pollution-free research area that was also a biological station, that was also a college, that had careers in the fields of research that we need to prove the theories? What if they could add to that research database with real reports on the effects of snakes under the snake force? What if we had students and interns that could study there and do live research, literally, in the field? What if the Michigan Department of Natural Resources did research in a state wildlife research area and documented the effects of artificial light at night on wildlife and ecosystems? Those reports could help the world to do what we're trying to do. And what if marine biologists had a place to do research in the Great Lakes that had no light pollution and could provide data that people are looking for to change the world? What if the United States Geological Survey, the big boat that comes out, could do research in a fish refuge that had less light pollution than anywhere else in the world, and could research and educate and provide the data to prove the theories to help save the world from light pollution? Rhetorical questions, we already have that. Let's get to using it. Your questions. Any questions? You go home and turn off the lights? Look at the lights on your way home. Young lady. Friday night, if it doesn't rain, there'll be a meet and greet at Whiskey Point Brewing Company and the Michigan War Chasers. We'll do dinner, we'll go to Sunset at the Pavilion, and we'll make our move from there, probably Gull Harbor. Enter by the light bulb so your headlights don't interfere with any of the programs and things going on. Saturday night, if it doesn't rain, we'll probably go to Wagner Campground, and we're going to go out to Terrace Meadow, and we're going to look at the sun through a telescope in the daytime, and then we're going to visit the sanctuary. And sanctuary's not really conducive to aurora and northern lights, so we'll probably head back to Wagner Campground. Sunday night, as yet undetermined, not sure. If anybody's got a home on the north side, we'll set up our now. Just kidding. So yeah, please come. These people are incredible at their teaching and what they do. Mr. Mark?
Did you mention that the CMU Miller's Marsh is also the wildlife research area there as part of the Beaver International Dark Sky Sanctuary?
I did not specifically point out that Miller's Marsh is the 230 acres and part of the big field. Still not traded to the DNR? Okay. So Miller's Marsh, Central Michigan University does own. They gave us letters of support. They're supporting us now, and it's going to be a great collaboration. We had inability, John and I both had heart issues and couldn't get that accomplished. But we're going to have some collaboration, and they do own that.
Hey, CJ.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a website or something where people can go and see what events are either happening this weekend or any other weekend this summer?
You can go to wvbi.net and look at the community calendar. And we have a dark sky event calendar that tells you all of those events and includes events that are happening in the dark sky. I can tell you, I could tell you what's happening tonight if I can remember that from entering on the calendar, that you can go out and see at 2 a.m. the Milky Way with Sagittarius, with a teapot. It should be right out there, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Bill, what's it? What say, astronomers? When do you see the Milky Way?
Yep, night.
Okay. Any more questions? Because we got a couple more things to do, but yes, young lady. The streetlights, from the lighthouse, there's probably 6 or 8, right down to the curve, at the Toy Museum. At the Ruby Inn, on Buddy Martin's on the harbor, because I always want a picture of the Ruby Inn, and there's a street like that. So it's just about 6 or 8, I think.
There's no place to do any other things.
Well, it would be my suggestion to go to your township meeting and go to your township supervisors and ask them to have the township stop committing white trespass upon your home. Because you don't want breast cancer or prostate cancer. And you want lightning bugs. And
You said
it does. I was in upstate New York for 18 months, and I get a little upset about this because I had a bus station behind me, and I had a high school football field behind me, and I had street lights around me. I was a board of class 5, and I cried knowing what I know about what light pollution was doing to my current health, and it was really depressing. But anyway, I started with Coldplay. I'm gonna finish with Monty Python. We've gone over a little bit. I wanted to show you a really good looking fireman, tell you what to do about light pollution and wildlife in 1 minute. But let's just let people get out of here so they can go look at the street lights on the way home and notice every corner road that they see. The song is almost completely factual about the world we live in. I can't thank you enough. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. And you're welcome to people unless you really enjoy Monty Python.
And you feel what you had quite in my
Just remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving, revolving at 900 miles an hour. It's orbiting at 90 miles a second. I reckon a sun that is the source of all our power. The sun and you and me, or the stars.
Turn off the lights. Turn off the lights.
So,
Great song.
I appreciate everybody, if you can either use the QR code or fill out the evaluation cards and just put it right in here. Thank you so much for coming to tonight's Beaver Island Dark Sky program, and also the fisheries. It's wonderful. I'll be right up.
Mountain is in the middle, 16,000 light years thick, but out my eyes is just 3,000 light years wide. We're 30,000 light years